Hey loves, every single time you watch this video, your specific person is going to be thinking about you. And I'll tell you exactly why that is, because we're going to be taking the idea of law of assumption and manifestation, which obviously is everything in your reality. If you assume something, it's going to be reflected outside of you. And the concept of potential energy. And yes, potential energy is the key behind the idea that every single time you're going to sit and listen to this video, your specific person is going to be thinking of you. Because a lot of times we assume what we do behind the scenes doesn't matter, right? We assume what we're thinking about, what we're contemplating, what we're imagining in this moment in regards to our manifestation, or more specifically in this video, our specific person, we feel as if it's not really having an impact, but it absolutely is. And again, that's why just believing and watching this video is creating the reality that your specific person will think of you every single time you watch it. So I want you to imagine the idea of potential energy in a rock, right? You set a rock on top of a hill. It has a lot of potential energy to be slightly nudged and pushed down. But we're doing the same thing when it comes to our manifestation. Every single moment of every single day, we're adding to the potential energy to either move towards our specific person and manifest them to be obsessed with us or think about us in this moment, or we're using and putting potential energy towards the opposite. And in this case, I actually want you to imagine it in the way of a bow and arrow. Right? A bow and arrow that's pulled back has a lot of potential energy to be released. And to be honest, when I would learn this idea in physics, I was like, this makes no sense. Where is this potential energy being stored? Is this just something made up? But when thought of in the realm of manifestation and law of assumption, it makes a lot of sense. Because if you're in your mind pulling your imaginary bow back that's pointed towards your specific person, so we're moving in that direction, so basically thinking and assuming things that align with our specific person, then it makes a lot of sense that we have a huge amount of potential energy because our state is in alignment with it. And the potential energy is basically something that's going to immediately act on a bridge of events. Basically, what we're doing in our spare time, again, right here and right now, what we're imagining, what we're contemplating is creating that potential energy to create the bridge of events and manifest things outside of us that either bring us towards our manifestation or move us away from it. And it's entirely our choice. And the reason we want to be focusing on this, and so right here and right now, again, what potential energy are we acting on? Are we creating that potential energy that every single time you watch this video, your specific person will be thinking of you? Because really, it's just as easy as that assumption and that belief, because I'm believing it for the both of us if you don't feel like you can fully do it. Are we imagining and contemplating that, or even just thinking about our specific person and what positive things they would be thinking about us in this moment? Or are we thinking of the opposite? Because again, if we're not thinking of law of assumption as something universal, we're going to think what we're doing right now has no effect on our specific person, but is always and automatically reflecting everything in your reality. If you are perceiving and conscious of something, then you are manifesting. So technically, there's never a time that you're taking a break from manifesting your specific person. It's constantly reflecting exactly what you're thinking and assuming. So the point of all this is to think about this in the way, again, of the potential energy. What we're doing behind the scenes is increasing or drawing that bow back, either to go move towards our specific person or move away. And I can actually use this idea in a different perspective to make it seem a whole lot more sensible and something that you could easily do right here and right now, because this is obviously something you can do right here and right now. I want you to imagine someone who wants to be in a wealthy mindset. And so in their spare time, they're constantly imagining, thinking of, and doing things that align them with that state. Do you think the actions or the perceptions or the way this individual sees their reality is going to be different from someone who might not be in their end state of wealth or abundance? And we're going to say yes. Obviously, these two individuals are going to be very different. They're going to act differently. They're going to think differently. They're going to believe and assume different things. And so thus we know the bridge of events for each of them will be much different. And the bridge of events that leads to wealth or $1 million, $1 billion, reaching their wealth finance goals instantaneously for the person in a wealthy mindset is going to be obvious, because being someone who is wealthy with their wealthy mindset, they're going to be doing and actively creating and expressing, however you want to think of it, because the law of assumption, we're assuming and expressing something, you already have it within you. You're expressing this wealth, and thus everything in alignment with that idea is going to reflect outside of you. Meaning then, because this wealthy individual is thus really drawing their bow back towards this wealth concept and really increasing their potential energy, as soon as any opportunity around them that relates to wealth gets in their vicinity, it's going to basically release that bow, release all of that potential energy, and immediately express something very positive in alignment with their idea. Okay? Because again, if you have this rock at the top of a mountain, it just needs a little nudge and it's going to fall over. That's why you've also heard in a lot of my videos, manifestation is very fast, right? When we do it, it's exponential, meaning you're going to receive a lot of results in a very short amount of time, all again explaining and focusing on this idea of potential energy, because you are basically building this state of being which interacts with their reality much differently. Now, truly, are we actually building up potential energy? That's not really totally important for the idea, but the fact is, thinking of it in this way makes us want to act and become the individual right here and right now that already has their specific person. Because truly, every single time, and I'm putting the belief on this video, and you can believe it or not, every single time you watch this video, if you come back to it, rewatch it, like it, subscribe based on it, your specific person is going to be thinking of you. And it's all based on this idea, because right now I want you to just contemplate what it would feel like, what it would be like. Again, if your specific person was blowing up your phone, I think I even talked about the same concept of contemplating in my last video, but it's so important, because the way you're feeling, what you're doing watching this video, and you don't have to hold yourself to some extreme standards. All you have to do is imagine or think about what it would be like for your specific person to be thinking about you right now. When you're doing that right here, it's going to affect literally everything in your reality, in the same way that this potential energy that we're building up is going to get released immediately in any state or interaction that aligns with the outcome we want. So let's say in this way, we're assuming and imagining the version of ourselves that already has our specific person, or imagining right now our specific person is thinking about us. Do you think the version of you that thinks and contemplates this idea has a different interaction with their specific person the moment they see them, as compared to an individual that thinks the opposite, that thinks in the negative, that thinks and worries, what if they're thinking something negative or bad about me? We would know for sure that the moment any interaction or anything related to our specific person interacts with each of these two versions of ourselves, there is a much different response. And that's this idea of this potential energy in action. And I can't tell you how much, not only in coaching sessions, but in my own life, this potential energy idea has kind of changed the way I perceive things. Because if you're like me, I'm a very visual person. So when I can contemplate or think of things in a metaphor, it makes me do it much more easily. And so hopefully this has the same effect on you. Meaning right now, you're either building the potential energy towards releasing it and being with your specific person, or building the potential energy and releasing it and not being with your specific person. But what you're thinking, doing, feeling, expressing, and assuming right now is everything that you need to do. Don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, I could just right now contemplate my specific person not wanting to be with me. No, what you're doing in this moment is actively reflecting. You're creating your reality. You're creating every single outcome. So if you in your spare time are not still aligning with that state, who else is going to come and change it? And it's like, no, it's only you. And all you have to do is make that choice. But if you don't feel confident in doing this, that's okay, because that's the belief I'm putting on this video. Every single person watching this video has their specific person thinking about them. And anytime you get worried, have fears, have doubts, literally come back to this video, rewatch it, think about it all again, and your specific person will start thinking about you all over again. And one extra thing to keep in mind, remember, it's the way in which we're viewing and assuming that is the most important thing. And all of this happens within our mind. And sometimes people comment on my videos, okay, so what am I actually supposed to be doing? But that's the thinking that makes us focus more on our external reality. There's nothing in your external reality that you technically need to be doing if we don't have our internal state set and in the momentum or the potential energy drawing the bow back towards where we want to go. If our internal state does not match that, anything you do will be literally pointless because it's not coming from the assumption and the state. When you're in the state of already being with your specific person, every single action works out in your favor. So yes, the way you actually view these ideas and think about manifestation is much more important than what you're physically doing, because techniques like affirmations, visualizations, journaling prompts are very good. But the point of them is to get ourselves into the state of already being with our specific person. They themselves are not the power. So yes, you can think and assume right now your specific person is thinking of you. That's literally all you need to change your reality. I know we can have these thoughts and ideas that we need to do something outside of us in order to create, and that's okay. You can do anything you want that kind of puts you into a state of confidence, happiness, abundance, or love. Literally do anything. But remember, the idea of acting in your external reality towards what you want is just as effective as an affirmation, as long as it's changing your internal state. Your internal state and assumptions are the most important thing. End of story. So if you know for a fact your specific person is thinking about you right now, leave a thumbs up on this video. If you did have any questions at all, or just wanted to comment the thought that your specific person in the positive is having of you right now, comment it down below. If you did want to reach out to me for any personal reason, for a personal coaching session, or to help with manifesting your specific person, you can always reach out to me at kyleaugustcoaching.com. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and really try this out or rewatch this video if it doesn't make sense, or you want your specific person to continue thinking about you. Put it on a loop, literally run it, replay it over and over and over again, and you can continuously stay in that state. Because if nothing else, really try to embody and remember every single word I mentioned in this video. Again, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you in my next video.